Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss UPSC prelims mains answer writing through newspaper article June 30, 2021. Okay, ensure that no migrant workers goes hungry. Supreme Court instructs government. Okay, so the court sets 31st July 31st as a deadline, tells the state to implement within this deadline one nation one ration card scheme. Okay, what does it mean? Court is literally ordering state government to do particular thing, means it leads to the judicial activism, right? Judicial activism, because executing any scheme comes under which one? Under the government. It is the responsibility of the government, execution and legislation. Okay, but the Supreme Court ordering the government comes under, it leads to the judicial activism. Okay, but not judicial overreach. It is just a judicial activism. Anyway, this is other topic. I am not going to discuss about this topic. Okay, and another thing, why I have taken this article, why it is important for the UPSC, because here first thing, Supreme Court has used very harsh words against the government, that is unpardonable apathy. Okay, this harsh word it has used. The second thing is what? Supreme Court has given the deadline. That's why it is in news. Very much important, because of judicial activism. Third one, because of one nation one ration card scheme is in news since April 2020, right? It is in news since April 2020. Why? Because of lockdown. At that time migration took place. Okay, due to this reverse migration, okay, many migrants suffered from lack of food. Okay, at that time the scheme, the most important scheme, the umbrella scheme, which is responsible for the distribution of what? Food grains. What is that? National Food Security Act became ineffective to address the migrants food crisis during the lockdown. It is an umbrella scheme, but it became ineffective. That's why this whole topic, when you listen, what you can understand, this is the issue of what? Governance. So governance come under which paper? Paper 2 of mains. Also we are going to take up one nation one ration card scheme. This topic we are going to talk. Okay, here in this article, what this article talks about is, you should implement one nation one ration card scheme within the deadline. It says here and there that it is a responsibility to handle the migrants. Responsibility is on the government. Migrants are important for the economy, you should take care of them. And it says that government has failed to come up with the required software to collect the migrants data. Okay, like this, these 5 points mostly it talks in this article. But with this article, with these 5 points, you actually cannot write a good answer in mains. Okay, these can be actually this article can be your example in your mains GS2, or if they ask a relevant essay, you can write this as example. Or in ethics, that Supreme Court has said unpardonable apathy. Okay, anyway, coming to the topic that we are going to discuss. What is the topic? The national one nation, one ration scheme, card scheme, right? So the first thing is, what is this ration card? You should understand. Okay, if you don't understand this, then you cannot understand anything. This ration card is nothing but card given by the state government to the citizens of the state to withdraw food grains from where? You would have seen many people withdrawing from one particular shop, right? We call it ration shop. What is that ration shop? The technical term is what? Fair price shop. Okay, you know this now. So what are the characteristics of ration card? The most important characteristic definitely you should understand if you want to understand this one nation one ration card scheme. What is that? It is location specific card. Means what? These card will be linked to the particular this fair price shop. Imagine in your colony there is one fair price shop. Okay, that is your card is linked to that particular fair price shop only. Whatever you have to buy, subsidy grains, food grains, if you want to buy, you can only buy from that fair price shop. Take example, if there is one fair price shop here, another fair price shop here, the distance between them is 100 meters. Take example, I am saying. Okay, your card is linked to this particular fair price shop, but here the food grains are over. By the time you go this shop, the food grains are finished. So you try to go here. If you go and ask here, right, this guy will not allow you to buy anything from that shop, though if you have lot of food grains, surplus food grains, because your card is not linked to this particular fair price shop. Your card is only linked to this particular fair price shop. Okay, this is a most important characteristic of the ration card that you should definitely remember to understand the whole concept that I am going to teach you now. So now the question is, so this peculiar type of ration card is given by whom? It is given by state government. Okay, and from the state government gets this power to give the ration cards to its citizens, to the state citizens, to the state public. From where? From National Food Security Act 2013. See, everything comes down to the National Food Security Act 2013 only, because this is the umbrella scheme for the distribution of food grains and in the entire India. Okay, what is this? Then definitely you should know about this, right? If you don't know about this, how come you can understand the topic? So I will tell you in brief about this thing. Okay, what is this National Food Security Act 2013? The first aim of this is to till before 2013, distributing food grains, right? It was just a welfare approach. Why you can say it is a welfare approach? Because it depends upon the government. If government want to give the food, it will give, otherwise it will not give. Okay, if government is not giving any food to the public, okay, then public cannot actually question the government. Though they can question, array, you are not taking care of us, we are giving vote for you, you are elected because of us, like that they can question, but they cannot approach the courts. Okay, because there is no particular law, right? See, what is there is one section called section 302. if someone, otherwise you take section 304, that is attempt to murder, right? If someone comes and try to attack you, but you will survive. Okay, now tomorrow what you will do? Immediately you will go to court and file the case. Hey, this guy is attacking me. Okay, why you are going filing the case? Because there is law. That law actually is there to protect your right. Okay, but like that there is no law, right, to protect your hunger. Okay, to make you survive. Okay, to protect your food security, there is no law. Okay, but in 2013 the government came up with the National Food Security Act 2013. That gives you right now. If government is not giving you food, then you can directly go to the Supreme Court. Why you can go to Supreme Court? Because your fundamental rights will be affected under the Article 21, right to life. Okay, right to life will be affected. If there is no food, what happens? There is no life. Definitely it will be affected. So that's why this National Food Security Right Act, you can say that there is a paradigm shift from the welfare approach to right based approach. Understand? So next, what is the next provision? Next provision is the one of the main provision of this this act is 75% of the rural population and 50% of the urban population will get the subsidized food grains. Okay, subsidized food grains. What are there? Rice, wheat, and coarse grains. Okay. And okay, chalo, you are saying that these many people will get the food grains, but there should be a procedure, right? You should know who is distributing these food grains to public. How come they will get? There should be a process, right? There should be a procedure. Yes, there is a procedure. The procedure involves both central government and state government. Okay, this act actually delineate the functions of central government and state government. Now the first thing is who will procure the food grains? That is central government. Central government will procure the food grains. After procuring, what they will do? They can't if Modi ji is procuring if India is procuring food grains, it's not like Modi ji will keep everything in his bedroom, right, or in the PMO office. No, they will take to the particular depot. Okay, particular depot they will take. Okay, after taking that, whose responsibility is that now to from this depot to you have to take it to the public, right? From where the public are going to buy. Just now I explained where here this fair price shop. So depot to fair price shop, again the responsibility is central government. Actually here the central government will give central assistance in terms of money, in terms of transportation cost, whatever the state government needed, central government will give in terms of central assistance to the state government to transfer from the depot to the fair price shop. These are the particular functions of the state government. You should remember, if tomorrow UPSC asks highlight the provisions of National Food Security Act, then you should be in a position to write it. Okay, and what are the state government's function now? Now food came to the fair price shop, right? Okay, now how state government, now the state government's responsibility come. To whom it should distribute this price? It's not like everybody can go and take the food grains, right? Only particular people can go. So now the responsibility is of the state government is to find out that particular people. Technically what we call them as a beneficiaries. Okay, we'll call them as beneficiaries. So the state government responsibility is to find out the beneficiaries. Okay, bye. They have found out the beneficiary. Then how to take into records? Okay, these A, B, C, D, E, F, G, these people are beneficiaries, actual beneficiaries. But every time, how to identify this A, B, C, D, E, F? To identify them, government will give ration card. Okay, whoever have that ration card is a beneficiary of the food grains. So the responsibility of the food grains goes to the responsibility of distribution of this ration card will go to the again the state government. Now the third important thing is, okay, there is beneficiaries, there is ration card, now there is food in the fair price shop. Now who have to monitor them, whether the fair price shop is giving or not? Okay, someone have to monitor, right? We all know about the humans. If nobody is monitoring them, and they will take away entire food, they will not distribute to the any person. They will take the food and they will sell them out. However, even now it's taking, even now this procedure is going on, lot of corruption, lot of leakage is there, but still, because there is some monitoring and inspection, now at least some people are getting food grains. So again the monitoring comes under the state government. Like this, the act has described particularly about the functions of state government and central government, that you should know. What is the significance of this National Food Security Act? Till now it has distributed, it's every year it is distributing to 81 crore people these subsidized food grains. Okay, to 81 crore people, it's a big amount. That's why it is known as world's largest food security program. Okay, 81 crore is a big thing. Can you imagine how much food grains the government has giving to poor? And poor means not exactly poor, 75% of the rural population and 50% of the urban population. Everybody is getting around, every year government is distributing 600 lakh tons of subsidized food grain. 600 lakh tons. It's a huge, right? It's a huge amount of food going as a subsidized. Means what? Here you have to understand, government is giving subsidy. Means what? You have to understand that how much money government is giving as a subsidy to the producers. It's around 70 crores to 80,000 crores. Okay, this much subsidy every year government is giving. It's a huge amount. Now it looks very cool, right? This act looks very cool. Then what is the issue? Now everybody should be getting food, right? 600 lakh tons of food government is distributing, 81 crore population is benefiting. Then what is the issue? Why Supreme Court suddenly saying that implement one nation one ration card scheme by July 31st? Why it's saying, man? Okay, there should be some reason, right? What is that reason? Yes, there is one big issue here, big loophole. What is that? This one I already said. You have to remember this specific characteristic, very peculiar characteristic of ration card. Okay, these created a huge problems. Why? Because we all know that what are the problems. I'll just list out some. Because it is a location specific card. Now see, one guy, there are many people migrating from Bihar to Tamil Nadu to Maharashtra, laborers, mostly laborers. Okay, not only laborers, everybody migrates, but majority of them are laborers, low wage people. Okay, like that, who are getting very low wages. Okay, according to the 2011 census, the percentage of migrants, the number of migrants is 45 crore people. 45 crore people, it's almost one fourth of the country is migrants. in the 1/4 of the country are migrants. Okay, and in this 45 crore, seasonal migrants, how much? It's 13.9 crores. Okay, this is also almost 12% of the total population of the country. Okay, now you say these people, पहले तो ये लोग का एड्रेस क्या होता है, बिहार होगा, नहीं तो उत्तर प्रदेश, नहीं तो असम, नहीं तो मिज़ोरम, if not someone from Punjab, like that. They will migrate to the developed states, obviously, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Bangalore, Surat, Ahmedabad, like that, Mumbai, like that. They will migrate, right? Okay, now they are migrating. Means what? This location of them is changing. Okay, location of them is changing, but in the card the location is same. Okay, the card location is same, because card is particularly linked to the location. It is a specific location, specific particular particular fair price shop only it is linked. But this guy is moving to all over India, then how he will get the food? So automatically these 45 crore people will be eliminated from the food benefit. Okay, so this is became a big issue now. From the 2020 April, this issue came out. Actually, the many people who are suffering so many years, imagine so many years, these 45 crore people, in these 45 crore, at least 35 to 38 crore people should be suffering lack of food, because they can't go. If someone is staying in Andhra Pradesh, came from Bihar, and he is a street vendor, he can't go to Bihar every month to collect the food, right? Okay, so you have to imagine how much he will be suffering here in Andhra Pradesh. Like that, crores of people are there. They are all eliminated from this National Food Security Act 2018. Now the question is it only the migrants issue? Okay, is it about the people who left out from the National Food Security Act 2013? Is it that? No, it is not only that. There is one more issue also, that is monopoly issue. Now what you have done, now you are saying that your particular card is fixed to particular shop. Okay, if you want to buy any subsidized food grain, you have to go to that particular shop. What does it mean? You are automatically giving the solo power to that particular shop. If that shop says that you have to buy for 100 rupees, he have to buy. If he says that stock is over, that's it. He cannot do anything else. Okay, if the particular shop says that your name is not in this shop, then it is not there, because you are giving complete authority to the particular shop by linking your card to the particular shop. That's it, right? There is only one shop, man. Imagine in entire India there is only one company, that is Jio. Okay, there is no Airtel, no Vodafone, no Idea, nothing. Only Jio is there. Now what happens? If Jio says tomorrow 1 GB is 1000 rupees, you have to buy. If 1 GB is 1 lakh rupee, you have to buy. You don't have any other choice. Likewise here also the monopoly. It encourages the monopoly of fair price shops. Now you have read all the important provisions of the National Food Security Act 2013, right? Did you anywhere heard about anything digitalization? Okay, you have to digitalize all the record so that we can monitor your records, whether to whom you are giving, to whom you are not giving. Okay, there is nothing, because at that time there is no Aadhaar card, no that much technology, nothing. So what happened? Fair price shops are started looting poor people. Okay, looting, literally looting. And there is no proper grievance readdressal mechanism also. So they literally looted people. So lack of digitalization is also issue with the ration cards are not digitalized. That led to what? That led to leakages and corruption. Leakages means what? If a fair price shop is getting 100 kgs of rice, example I'm saying, he will say that I got only 70 kgs and 30 kgs he will sell in the market. Okay, leakage, corruption. How corruption? In that weighing machine, he will manipulate that weighing machine. He will make that 10 kg is equivalent to 6 kg. So here also he will do 4 kg corruption, and otherwise he will charge more price. So like this, this system has been facing lot of leakages and corruption. Here I want to clarify one thing. I have said that 45 crores of migrants, right? Means almost 1/4. You may ask, what is the reason for such a huge migration, man, in India? Inter-regional or intra-regional migration. What is the huge reasons means? See, I want to clarify here the reasons, because I don't know whether again I can take this topic or not. So reasons for the migration. Okay, one, what will be the reason? First, regional imbalance. Why the Bihari is coming, Bihari or Uttar Pradesh people, or Assamese or Mizoram, anybody is coming? Why? Because regional imbalance growth, development. Okay, those people are, those areas are still underdeveloped. Lack of industries, you can say, lack of intensive manufacturing industries, you can say. Okay, the slow rate of urbanization, you can say. Okay, that's why the regional, due to regional imbalance, there is a migration. Another thing is what? See, if you check from where the more migration, high population of migration belongs to, from Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh. Okay, from these areas, right? To which states they are going? They are going to Punjab. Naito, they are coming to Maharashtra. They are coming to Tamil Nadu. They are coming to Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, like this. But what is this Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Jharkhand, some extent, and okay, these states are basically what? Agricultural states, right? They are dependent upon the agriculture. Okay, because Indo-Gangetic plain is there. Okay, because the Indo-Gangetic plain is there. Here Indo-Gangetic plain, Ganga, Yamuna, all the rivers flows. So here rich in water. Okay, but due to the failure of agriculture policies or agriculture structure, their unemployment rate is started increasing. So they started moving out of that states. Means you can say that due to the agricultural policy failure or agriculture failure. You may say that, array, here lot of water is there, Ganga is there, Yamuna is there, Kosi is there, everything is there. How come agriculture will fail? Yes, agriculture will fail because of floods. You can say, because these states are poor, right? These states are poor and the population is very high and the land percentage is low. Obviously, what happening? Population is very high. Okay, population is very high, land is very small, right? So what's happening? Here the land fragmentation is happening. Land is becoming smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller. When the agriculture land is becoming smaller, modern inputs you cannot afford. Okay, because the productivity will be very low. Okay, so you will feel the debt problem. So that's why agriculture is unviable. Okay, and there the land reforms are failed. This is a big issue. I don't want to go into details. Agriculture is failed, one reason. The another reason is rural and urban divide is there, right? We all know that urban areas are growing and developing in modern lines, but rural areas are left just like that only. Okay, so there is a divide. Obviously, if the rural people, they will attract to the urban, right? अरे urban में अच्छा school है, hospital है, you can go and work there easily. You will get the job in urban areas, and good facilities are there, transportation facilities are there. So people are migrating from the rural to the urban areas. To stop this, government has started Sham Prasad Mukherjee rural urban mission. That is different case, and this is one of the issue. The another issue is insurgency. Okay, what is this insurgency? It's a conflict between the tribals, you can say, in the northeast states. Okay, and in Jammu Kashmir issues, and in Uttar Pradesh against minorities. So there are here and there the fighting, clashes, insurgencies, militancies, and in left wing extremism areas like Dantewada, Bastar. Okay, example, there are many other. So there the development is not easy to take place because of always conflicts and hostility is there, right? That's why people try to move out of that region. अरे इधर डेवलपमेंट ही नहीं हो रहा है. Okay, always fighting, always tension. So we will go out of this. So they will move out of this. Okay, what is the fifth reason? Will be physical geography, you can say. What is this physical geography? Say entire northeast region, right? Entire northeast region is completely full of, entire northeast region means what? It is completely full of what? Mountains and hills, right? And it is Manipur 75% of Manipur is completely hilly area. And here Arunachal Pradesh, almost 90% of the Arunachal Pradesh is completely hilly area. And Nagaland, around 50 to 55% of total area is completely hilly area. So here if you want to do development also, it's not possible, because you should do deforestation. Okay, and the tribal culture will not agree it. So the road connectivity is not there properly, railway connectivity is not there properly. So what people are doing, that's why if you go and see in Bangalore, there are a lot of Bangalore, Chennai and Hyderabad, lot of northeastern people will be working in these cities because they are not able to get jobs there. Okay, because of lack of connectivity, because companies are not able to go and settle there because lack of connectivity. Okay, lack of poor transport, due to the poor transportation. So that is one of the reason. What is the sixth reason? Most important reason is social norm. What is this social norm? Now you are a boy. Now you will go to Bihar and you will marry a woman. Okay, but you are from Hyderabad. Okay, will you settle in Bihar? No, right? You will come back. Okay, so when you come back, what happened with you? Girl also will come back. When girl also is coming back, obviously her location is changing, so she is migrating. Marriage is the one of the biggest reason, okay, for women to migrate from one place to another place, interstate and intrastate. Mostly intrastate migration. Intrastate means within the state. Okay, within the state the migration is more, because still we have not grown to that high level to marry interstate, to see the interstate marriages, because our caste system and all everything is there. That is different case, but still till now the intrastate migration, in intrastate migration marriage is dominating a lot. So now you say, due to all these issues, not only here marriage, but there is a caste also. Okay, take example in Uttar Pradesh, particular caste, the people belongs to the particular community will be forced to move to the some other place due to the hostility. Okay, because they should not live in this area, particular area, in this area, like this is there, so they are forced to migrate. That can be also the reason. So because of these six major reasons the migration is taking place in India, right? So what happening with this migration? You imagine these people are already suffering who are migrating. Okay, so many people, see these reasons all are very pathetic reasons, right? Lack of development, due to facing hostility, failure of agriculture, means no livelihood. So many pathetic and um, poor reasons. Okay, and these people are excluded from the Food Security Act. How pathetic it is! Very bad, right? That's why it is very bad. Why I have said these reasons? Because you should know who are actually migrating. What is the, you now you can easily say that the percentage of this poor people, yeah, in terms of economy, in terms of social, in terms of political, any type, the poor people will be more in this 45 crore, right? These people are excluded. That's why government has established one committee, that is Partha Mukhopadhyaya committee in 2017. This committee has said that you should government should promote portability of public distribution system benefits. Portability means they should be allowed it to withdraw food grains from anywhere. Okay, from here the concept came, that is known as one nation one ration card scheme. What is this meaning? Means एक भारत है ना, we are all belongs to one country, right? Like that, there should not be difference between the states and between the shop to shop. Okay, it should be freedom. The freedom should be given to the people to withdraw food wherever they want. Okay, these will help migrants who is coming, a migrant coming from Bihar to Andhra Pradesh or Bihar to Tamil Nadu. He can withdraw food from in the Tamil Nadu itself, in the Andhra Pradesh itself. Now imagine if these people who are migrating to different states, how much they will benefit. They will feel very happy, right? Because if they're previously, what used to happen, because they can't avail this benefit, this National Food Security Act benefits, if they are earning 100 rupees, they are spending 50 rupees on food. Now they are getting for free food. Government is allowing them to take food for free, so they will save 100 rupees. These 50 rupees, in these 100 rupees they will save 50 rupees very easily, and they can send these 50 rupees back to their home. Which means what? Every day if they saving 50 rupees, 15 to 30, how much? 1500 rupees they can send back home. Imagine if 1500 rupees sent back home, they can provide good food to the children. Okay, nutrition food also they can provide, and children, you can provide good education to the children, and women can eat good nutritious food, right? This is about the migrant issue will be solved like this. Okay, the another issue what it will solve is women. We have seen this, women is migrating, right? Okay, women is migrating. So among women, you know what, in India around 55 to 56% of women is facing anemia. Means what? Lack of, this happens due to the deficiency of iron, right? Okay, so if you are providing food to women, because they face issues, right? Because the location is different, they migrated to other place due to marriages or some other issues. Okay, now they can address this issue, okay, very easily. And because imagine if one woman, one girl came to Andhra Pradesh and married and staying here from Bihar or some other place, okay, or from Uttar Pradesh, wherever she belongs, and now the children, okay, they have produced children are born, but the family is very poor. Women cannot access her quota of food grains under the National Food Security Act. Now what? Woman is having husband, woman and two children. Okay, but only husband, because he have his own card, ration card, he will go and get food grains from the shop. But these food grains will not suffice. What happened? This woman will eat less, and whatever the food is left, it will be shared with these both children. Now what happening here? These both children will face malnutrition, and again women will face anemia. Okay, and India is known for world's 1/3 of the malnutrition among the children. Okay, among the children in entire world, if there are 100 children in the world, 33 are from the India only, who are below 3 years old. Now you only say that now woman is migrating and she is getting right to withdraw her quota of food grains. Now see, husband is getting, woman is getting, happily both the family, both the people will eat and both the children will eat, and the woman health will be recovered and children health will be recovered. So like this it will actually benefit. What is another benefit one can achieve from the one national and one ration card? Very important benefit. Here I said monopoly, right? No, there is no monopoly, man. Okay, you can go to one ration card in your colony or another ration card in another colony, in another fair price shop in another colony, anywhere you can go. Means what? If in your colony one fair price shop is there, that guy is not giving any quality food grains to you. He's giving like 10 months old food grains. You don't like it, you can easily go to another shop. If that guy is also giving the same type of quality, you can go to another shop. Okay, means what? The competition will increase now. Okay, among the fair price shops there will be competition. Hey, who will give good food grains? If everybody is giving good food grains, then they start giving providing chairs. Whoever come, they can sit and relax. When their turn comes, they can go and collect their food grains. That will improve, and infrastructure will improve, because they try to attract more and more people. The more and more people they will get, more and more profits they will get. The fair price shops will get the profits by the government will share the money. That is another benefit from this shop. That is what? Monopoly will not be there. It will lead to the competition. Now shift from the monopoly to the competition. Now what is the problem? Another problem I said here, lack of digitalization. Now it will be completely digitalized. Okay, now how we can say? Okay, for knowing that, you should definitely know what are the actually provisions of the one nation one ration card scheme. The provision number 1, what is this? What happened? Now there is National Food Security Act beneficiaries, right, are identified. Okay, and now the ration card data, these data and these data will be combined and stored in one place, that is known as central repository. So what happens here? Here the beneficiary will be 100 people. Here the ration card will be 120 people. With 120 people, ration cards will be there, but actually beneficiaries will be 100 people. What happens? When they club together, these 20 extra people will be eliminated. These are bogus cards will be eliminated automatically. So when the bogus cards eliminated, what happens? The burden on the government to give the subsidy will also reduce. First thing, because government, how much it's giving subsidy, I have written here 70 to 80,000 crores per year it's giving. Okay, definitely if 20 people goes, means what? How much? Almost 25% of the people are removed, so the burden will be completely reduced. Another thing is, it will be only the poor people and necessary beneficiaries will be getting the food, so the welfare principles will be upheld. Okay, with this is the benefit. The another thing is what? Another thing is Aadhaar card seeding. Beneficiaries Aadhaar card will be seeded. So what will be the advantage of this? See, if your Aadhaar card is taken as a data now, okay, now it is monitored wherever. If you are in Bihar, if you are in Uttar Pradesh, if you are in Maharashtra, if you are in Madhya Pradesh, anywhere if you are taking the food, that can be automatically tracked where you are taking the food. Okay, so what is the benefit from this? Here the benefit is, see, example, if Tamil Nadu is getting every year 100 kgs of rice from this National Food Security Act, because now the migrants also will be taking food, this 100 kg will not be sufficient, they should give more. Okay, so like this, government will come to know that where the more migrants are there, to which state we have to give more food grains. Like that, government, it will even help to the government. One of the most important thing is what I said, that this is manually. Okay, if you go there, you have to give like 10 rupees, 15 rupees by hand, and means 10, not 10 rupees, 15 rupees, according to the prices you have to pay by hand. Now what happened here? Point of sale, electronic point of sale should be established in fair price shop. Okay, because of this electronic point of sale, government will clearly know how many people are coming to the fair price shop and taking food. Okay, by this what can happen? If any excess food is there, he should give back this food grain to the government. Okay, then the government will store it for the next time. If this system is not there, what happens? This guy will say, we have distributed everything to the government. He will say that no, we have distributed everything, now we don't have. But still he will be having 100 kgs, 1000 kgs, 2000 kgs of food grains. What he will do? He will sell in the market. Okay, to reduce that leakage. Okay, it will help the government. By reducing that leakage, what will have, how the it will increase the food grain storage, and one more thing is, it will reduce the burden on the government. That is, food subsidy burden will be reduced. Right. The fourth provision is what? Fourth feature is what? Depot online system. Means what? FCIs. Okay, all the storages where the subsidized food grain is stored will be linked with a network, so that with a real time you can monitor that from where how much storage is left and how much is dispatched for the distribution, and where to where it has dispatched for the distribution. Everything can be monitored in real time. So these are the benefits that these features of this One Nation One Ration Card scheme. These are the features and these are the benefits from this. Now you can say that, so this One Nation One Ration Card has only benefits, no challenges. See, as a coin has two sides, everything has challenges in this world. Okay, even it looks very good, to that very good also there is challenges. Okay, what are the challenges here? Challenges are, first thing I have said, that Aadhaar card seeding. Okay, we have seen that in 2017 in Ranchi में क्या हुआ है? 20 to 40% of beneficiaries were rejected from getting benefits from the Food Security Act. Why public distribution system? Why? Because because of technical glitches. Okay, because of technical glitches, they are not able to get food grains. If the poor people are not able to get food grains, then how they will survive? We all know. Okay, Aadhaar card seeding means definitely you should put your biometric technology will be used. Okay, some people will go for will work as a stone crushers, some people will work under welding, some people work as a agriculture laborer, some people work as construction laborer. Means what? They are using their hand every time. When they are using their hand every time, obviously after a few years what happens? The fingerprints, the thumb prints will go off. When the thumb prints will go off, what happens? When they go and press that biometric, will not work at all. Okay, that is one of the biggest issue this biometric is facing now. And we all would have heard in 2017 the Jharkhand girl who starved to death because no fair price shop came forward to give her food because her Aadhaar card is not seeded with the ration card. This is one of the challenge. Another thing is we can see after seeing these features what you can conclude. It is dealing with the internet and electricity. Now you say all the villages have electricity or what? No, right? Okay, according to the 2017 government report I am talking, more than 50% of rural areas don't get electricity for more than 12 hours a day. 12 hours is a huge thing, man. More than 12 hours they don't have electricity. Okay, imagine then how come this internet or this electronic systems will work. Again, if again the corruption will take place. This is the one of the biggest challenges for implementing this scheme. Another important thing is what this everything is depend upon the software, right? Software need to continuously upgrade. What if, see, that is what the critical infrastructure comes. If some virus entered, something hacked this system, then entire system will collapse now. For then it will be big headache for the government. Okay, because it has completely depended on the IT infrastructure, and we need even the skilled personals at the grassroots level. Even if some software issues come, he should be able to resolve that. Okay, do you think in rural areas, in some other areas, you can find this type of persons? No. For that, government have to give training again. Okay, so it is again going to take a lot of time. Just establishing a system is not a big deal, right? You have to maintain that system. Okay, Supreme Court easily says that by July 31st you have to establish. You can establish, it's not a big deal, but maintaining the system is a big task, because lack of internet, lack of electricity, and lack of other seeding, lack of biometric, losing of thumb prints. There's so many other things, challenges are there. Now most important thing is, see, now yes, central government is providing the food grains. Good. Okay, there are few states which provides food grains according to their taste to their public, only to the state people. Okay, now when the one nation one ration card grains comes, the state government will not provide these grains. State, because this is a state scheme, right? They will provide only these grains to the migrants. So there will be discrimination happening, right? Obviously, some people will be getting only few food grains, some people will be getting state grains and central grains, everything. So there is no inequality, and there is a discrimination also in the system based on the card will discriminate. This is also issue. Another thing is, what if tomorrow state government says, the central government says that, hey, you all don't follow um, your schemes, you follow my scheme only, then obviously it will infringe states' right. So like this, you have to talk about the federal cooperative federalism also you can talk. If government says like that, what happens? Particular people in south, they will eat particular type of food grains. In West India, they will eat particular type of food grains. In East India, they will eat particular type of food grains. In northern, they will eat particular type of food grains. If state central government promotes only one type of food grains, then it will not fit to the everybody taste, right? The taste also will differ center state to state, so it will affect the cooperative federalism also. We are talking about this one nation one ration card scheme. To implement this, what we should know? Okay, we should definitely know one thing, that is one of the most important thing we should know, that is not technology, nothing. First thing you should know, who are this 45 crore population, means you should know the data. If you don't have the data, how you will find out this guy is migrant, this guy is migrant, this guy is migrant? Only if you have data, you can give him one ID card. Okay, चलो आप migrant है, आप दिखाओ ये card, ये card आप दिखाओ. Then he will come to know he is a migrant, right? Otherwise, officers, how he will come to know he is a migrant or not? So collecting this data is a huge task now. Do you think this can be achieved in 1 month? I don't think so. It can be achieved in 1 month. Okay, now you can say that, okay man, this man, we know now what we have did. We have extensively discussed about this topic, right? We have read about what is I'll explain the structure. We have seen about what is ration card. Okay, with the ration card, from where this ration card comes to the power. Who gives power to this ration card means, that is National Food Security Act. What is this National Security Act? We have seen this is umbrella scheme. Okay, and we have seen the issues with the ration card. For these issues, the government came up with a recommendation from the constituted a committee called Partha Mukhopadhyaya. This guy gave recommendations of portability. These portability features we have seen. Okay, these benefits we have seen, how it will benefit, and we have seen the challenges now. Okay, now I have a question now. What is the question is, why government have to do all these things, man? Why should government do? Okay, why first of all government should come up with the National Food Security Act 2013. It is a people's responsibility, right? They have to work, they have to earn their bread, they have to feed their family. Why government should do all these things? Okay, yes, you are right, you are absolutely correct. Why should government do? But government should do for one thing, that is, it is a democratic country. Democratic country means what? People are electing the government, okay, to rule them. Means what? People are giving the power to the government to rule them. Rule me, rule you, rule your mom and dad, my mom and dad, like that. So whose responsibility to rule? You're giving the responsibility on whom? To the government. So it is a government's duty to protect the rights of everyone. Okay, so at least the basic right. What is that? Food, shelter, electricity, education. That's why what government came up with: for food, National Food Security Act; for housing for all. You can even say Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. For electricity for all. You can say that is you can say Deen Dayal Gramin Jyoti Yojana. You can talk about Saubhagya scheme also. You can talk. There are many other schemes. Okay, and for what else I have said? Education. For education, what government did? Many things it has done. One of the thing is right to education. Okay. Another thing you can say health. For health, what government has done now recently? Ayushman Bharat. Like that, government has done many taken schemes because it's a democracy. Though government, even it is not only Indian government, even it is a capitalistic government, any government, it is a responsibility lies on the government to take care of their own citizens. Okay, because the citizens are giving the power to the government. Another thing from where the government should do is there is a moral duty on the government. Definitely we should mention what is that? Article 47. Okay, it comes under the directive principles. Okay, but directive principles are not enforceable, but still it is a moral duty on the government to uphold the welfareism. What article 47 says? It says that it is a duty of the government to raise the level of nutrition. Okay, level of nutrition and standard of living of people and to improve the public health. This is what the article 47 says. Now, one more obligation is what that is a sustainable development goal. Okay, sustainable development goal 3, what it says? Countries should achieve zero hunger deaths. Okay, so it is a responsibility now. Now government if fails to achieve this target, it will be humiliated in international level. Okay, and our Indian government trying to become one of the global powers in the world. You see, how come you can become a global power when 1/3 of the population, child population, is malnutrition, and 50 to 56% of the women facing anemia. Okay, so many issues. You can't become a global power, right? And people are suffering for food, growing poverty, everything. So you can conclude by saying these things. This is how you should read for the mains for regarding this or regarding to this particular topic. It is very difficult to get all these facts, all these reasons in any newspaper. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this topic, but I really enjoyed because I love to discuss in depth on any topics. And thank you for your patience, because I know it took almost 1 hour to discuss one topic, but really I enjoyed it. But still I can even go in even more deep, but I don't want to go because it's almost 1 hour and I don't have any space left to go even more deep. Where there is chance of going even more deep is here. Regional imbalance. You can discuss a lot of things. Why still there is a regional imbalance now? But it is not a topic, right? And you can even discuss what is judicial activism. Okay, how it will actually affect article, whether it really affects article 51 or not. Because what article 51 says, there should be a sorry, not article 51, it's article 50. What article 50 says, there should be separation of powers. Okay, and separation of powers between this executive and judiciary, and like that there are many other things you can discuss, but it is not the time to discuss. Anyway, thank you. Please subscribe and share your comments.